Hey everyone, if you've spent any time at all in the Java world, you've definitely run into the Spring framework. But inside that huge ecosystem, there's this one question that trips up just about everyone at some point. What's the actual difference between Spring Core and Spring MVC? Well, today, we're going to draw a super clear line in the sand between these two.
Yeah, this is the big question, right? They're both Spring, but you know what? They do completely different jobs. Stick with me, and I promise you'll see exactly where one ends and the other begins, and more importantly, how they work together to create some seriously powerful applications.
Okay, so first things first, let's get some context. The Spring framework isn't just one single thing. It's more like a galaxy of different modules. You've got Spring Data, Spring Security, Spring Batch, the list goes on. But today, we're zoning in on the two absolute superstars that form the foundation of pretty much every Spring app out there.
Let's start with the absolute heart of it all, Spring Core. And I want to be crystal clear about this. This part is not optional. If you're using Spring at all, you are using the core module. Think of it as the power plant, the central nervous system for the entire framework.
So, what does this engine actually do? Well, its main job revolves around this super powerful idea called inversion of control, or IOC. And the name really says it all. You see, normally, you, the developer, would be in charge of creating your objects, connecting them, and managing their whole life. With IOC, that control is, well, it's inverted. It's flipped. You hand over the keys to the Spring container and let it handle all that heavy lifting.
So, how does the container do all this magic? It uses a design pattern called dependency injection, or DI. If IOC is the what, then DI is the how. Instead of an object having to create its own database connection, for example, it just says, hey, I need a database connection over here. The Spring container hears that, finds the right one, and just injects it right where it's needed. It's pretty cool. And what this all boils down to is that the Spring IOC container takes care of the whole shebang. It creates your objects, which in Spring speak are called beans, it wires them all together, and it manages them from birth to death. The payoff for you is huge. You write way less of that boring, repetitive boilerplate code, and you get a system that's loosely coupled, which makes it so much easier to maintain and, maybe most importantly, to test.
You know, the best way to think about it is this. Spring Core is like the engine of a car. It's providing all the raw power. It's managing all the essential internal parts and making sure they work together. But an engine, all by itself, well, it's just a powerful block of metal, right? It's pure potential, waiting for something to actually control it.
So, if Spring Core is our powerful engine, how do we actually use that power to build something, like a website? That, my friends, is where Spring MVC comes into the picture. It's a specialized module that you basically bolt right on top of that core foundation.
The whole idea behind Spring MVC is the classic model view controller pattern. Its entire goal is what we call separation of concerns. You have the model, which is just your data. You have the view, which is what the user sees, the UI. And then you have the controller, which acts like a traffic cop in the middle, directing everything. This separation just keeps your web apps clean, organized, and way easier to work with.
Now, the absolute hero of Spring MVC, the star of the show, is a little something called the dispatcher servlet. This thing is the front controller. Every single web request that comes into your application, every click, every form submission hits the dispatcher servlet first. Its only job is to figure out where that request needs to go.
So, let's follow a request for a second. It comes in and hits the dispatcher servlet. The servlet looks at some handler mappings to find the perfect controller for that specific request. That controller does its thing, processes the data, and then sends back the data along with a logical view name, something simple like user profile. Then, a view resolver takes that name and maps it to an actual file. Finally, that view gets rendered with the data and sent right back to the user's browser. It's this super elegant, organized dance that happens for every single request. So back to our car. If Core is the engine, then Spring MVC is the chassis, the steering wheel, the pedals, and the dashboard. It's the interface that lets an actual person harness all that power from the engine and tell it where to go.
All right, we've looked at them one by one. Now it's time for the main event. Let's put them head-to-head in a direct showdown. This should make the difference absolutely undeniable.
Let's break this down. Look at the purpose. Core is all about that fundamental plumbing, IOC and dependency injection, and you can use it for any Java application. MVC, on the other hand, is laser-focused on one thing, building web apps. The key player in Core is the application context, while for MVC, it's that dispatcher servlet we talked about. But here's the most critical point, the real kicker.
You absolutely cannot use Spring MVC without Spring Core. It's always an add-on, never a replacement.
Okay, so we get the technical differences. But why does this actually matter to you as a developer, day to day? What's the practical takeaway here? It all comes down to this one golden rule. Spring Core is the universal foundation. You could use only Spring Core to build a command line tool, a background data processing job, whatever you want. But the instant you decide I'm going to build a web application or a REST API, boom, you're pulling in the Spring MVC module, which of course relies completely on that core engine to even work.
And there you have it. Spring Core is the engine, giving you that foundational power by managing all your objects. Spring MVC is the specialized web framework you build on top of it, giving you the steering wheel to direct that power. One provides the potential, the other provides the purpose. So now that you know the difference between the engine and the chassis, the only question left is, what are you going to build?